Hey there, Pubsters. Welcome back to another episode of the Apple Pub. As always, my name is Raphael.
And my name's Emmanuel.
This time. And today we'll be covering the Hey Siri event and just giving our thoughts and opinions on what we liked and what we didn't like. Alright, so since today's episode is going to be pretty long, we're going to be leaving some annotations here down below and in the description so you can jump ahead to the product you want to hear about most. So, starting us off, we're going to jump right into the Apple Watch.
So they basically released a few more colors of the watch, which I thought was whatever. The Apple Watch was really the most uninteresting product updates to me.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, and but I'm more excited about the software upgrade for watchOS 2 with third-party app developers being able to write native apps, because that's going to speed up things up a lot on the Apple Watch, because right now only the native apps run really fast. But besides that, I mean, the new, what was that new watch design they announced? Hermes, yeah. I'm assuming
I'm assuming it's some kind of designer company that makes straps and bracelets and stuff.
Yeah, so they basically made the Apple watch face look exactly like this classic watch that somewhere in France is very popular, I guess. Like, they're based in France. Or the band was
the
from
bands.
France.
It's the bands that they make. It's these new leather bands.
Yeah, that wraps around twice. I don't know. I thought it looked okay, but it's not for me. I'm not very into like fashion stuff. But yeah, the Apple Watch was just whatever. I'm just looking for the software upgrades for that one.
Yeah, to me it was like, even though the software stuff that they're showing was really cool, it's like we kind of knew all that from WWDC. Like, we already knew what was coming. I mean, the one thing I have to say, which I had mentioned in the other video too, is I thought the GoPro little app was really awesome. That you could use it as a viewfinder on your wrist.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
And I found it interesting that they decided to make the Apple Watch Sport in gold, and was it rose gold?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they can't do that with the stainless steel, the Apple Watch version, because it'll look too much like the Apple Watch edition.
Yeah, I'll take away from sales from that, which I don't know who,
Yeah, I don't know who would buy it. But they want to protect the value of that brand, and it's for high-end people, so... I don't know. I would rather buy a stainless steel Apple Watch and have it painted, or not painted, coated with a plate of gold, because there are services that do that. We've covered those. It's just like $200-300, and you basically get it looking exactly like the Apple Watch edition. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. That sums up my thoughts about the Apple Watch.
Yeah, same here. I wasn't all too impressed, but it was still pretty cool for anyone who hasn't picked one up and was thinking about getting one. So, yeah.
So now let's move on to the Apple TV. Now, this was one of the products I was more excited to, looking forward to hearing about.
Me too.
I think it was overall good. I wasn't like blown away by it, but it was still pretty impressive. Apps was probably the biggest thing for me. The fact that the TV will have apps. What did you think of that? The fact that...
I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. We have a whole bunch of these little channels that we have right now, and I feel like they're very disorganized. They're just like all over the screen. There's no rhyme or reason as to why you get them. They just appear out of nowhere. It's like, hey, all these new channels. But yeah, I really liked how that you can play like little games and everything if you wanted to. How there's like multiplayer. The one thing that I didn't like was how the controller, how it's set up. It's like, oh, if you want to play multiplayer, you either have to have an iPhone with you, or an iPad with you, or an iPod Touch, and I don't know, I feel like that might just get a little confusing when you try to play with friends and stuff. But
yeah, third-party companies have to come in for that. I think the idea of an app store for TV is huge, but I also think that some apps are going to kind of be forced, and they're not going to really work on a TV. Like,
what do you mean?
I don't know, like some apps, like you can't take any iPhone app and throw it up on a TV and expect it to be convenient to use. There are some things that it's just more convenient to use on a phone, or like I'm not gonna sit down on my
that's the thing. It's a specific app store for the Apple TV. It's not your general app store. It's like it has to be an Apple TV.
Oh no,
app.
Yeah, I know, I get that, but I'm seeing. I think there will be developers who develop apps for the Apple TV that are kind of like really like why is this app even on the Apple TV? Like, it's so like unnecessary.
Obviously, if it's unnecessary, no one's gonna download it, and there you go.
Yeah.
Economy, it's gonna get.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to figure out is, and I don't know if a lot of people have given this thought, is what kind of apps would go good on a TV format. and the games easily because console gaming that totally makes sense.
Obviously, all the network channel.
That perfectly fits with TV. I don't know what else. Like I know I'm limited in my mindset right now because I haven't seen how creativity can be applied here. So it's interesting to wait and see what people will do with it. But maybe like kind of like a video feed of your security cameras or GoPro or whatever.
Well, see, that's the thing. They made no announcement at all over HomeKit, which is kind of what bummed me out about this whole thing. I thought this was going to be their really big answer to Amazon and I forget what it's called, the
Echo?
Yeah, Amazon's Echo and everything. Like, I felt like this was going to be like their, okay, we're hitting back with home automation and everything. Because, I mean, they've been talking, Apple has had all this stuff in the works with home automation, but they kind of fell through on it. I thought that was going to be a big thing during the show, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. That was the main thing I was excited about was the App Store and the home automation. Now, the home automation's still happening. It's not like, just because they didn't talk about it, it's not happening. HomeKit was announced, and it does seem to be that the Apple TV is going to be the central hub. Mm-hmm. But it was just like, it was such a big deal, and I don't know. It was something exciting they could have talked about. I don't know.
Yeah, and like I said, I told you before, like one of the big things that I'm still holding out on is their TV streaming service, because I am a cable cutter. I'm a cord cutter. I haven't had cable TV in like 4 years, 3-4 years now. So it's like that'd be pretty cool to have like a very cheap service where I get all the channels that I actually want to watch.
Yeah.
On my time too. I think that's how it's gonna work. You get both live and like your choice of like how it's on Netflix. You can just choose which episode you want to watch.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because finally we're getting quality channels. I mean, it's always been famous where it's like there are 500 channels and nothing to watch.
Yeah.
I hate that.
That's because half the channels are the same exact thing as the other half, but the HD versions nowadays. But
yeah. So I don't know. It's exciting to see the future of TV. Another thing they didn't announce at the event, but it was written about afterwards. AirPlay and the way it works. They're changing the internals of it. So basically, before when you use AirPlay, it would be very slow because every time you would connect a device like your iPhone to your Apple TV and push a feed, it would have to authenticate your iPhone with the Apple TV every single time. Now it's just a one-time authentication, and after that it's just quick, it skips that step from then on. So basically they're reworking AirPlay a lot, like in a very deep way, and you're gonna see much quicker pushing and quality and less latency and lag. So I'm looking forward to that too. I think that was a big deal. AirPlay was like a big feature they kind of just left by the wayside for a while. So I'm glad they're going back and improving on it. What else besides the apps? There was
the whole Siri connectivity and everything, and how you could like pull up little tidbits of info while you're watching a show, which to me isn't. It's cool, but at the same time, it's like, why the hell would I want to have like the weather randomly pop in?
I like that. I could picture myself like drinking a cup of tea in the morning and then like watching something.
Okay, definitely I can tell you this. Once they get the streaming, yes. But then normally when I sit down to watch a show, I'm sitting down to watch that show. Yeah. I'm not sitting down to like do other things. So it's like once there's TV streaming where you can, it's like when I used to have a TV where you just had the TV on.
They had other stuff you could do too. It was one that slided from the bottom and other stuff that slides down from the top. I think it was like information on the show.
Yeah, you could start searching stuff about the directors, the actors, or you can go to a certain spot in the show, or like.
Oh yeah, I love that, and I just found it very intelligent the way they did it. You know, they like if you didn't hear what it said, it's like, what did she say? It jumps back 10 seconds, puts on subtitles just for those 15 seconds. So it puts on subtitles for those 15 seconds, and then it turns off the subtitles afterwards. Mm-hmm. That I thought was really cool. I like the whole swiping up and not interrupting everything. You don't have to leave the app.
And then if you do swipe all the way up, it pauses the video for you.
Yeah, it's so cool. I thought that was really well done. Another thing I really liked was this was in the sports channel, but I'm sure other people will do it too, where you're watching one game, let's say a baseball game. Yeah, and then you put up a hockey game at the same time. You're hearing one game, but you could see the other game too. Kind of keep an eye on it. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really cool. It has scorecards and all these little details in between. So it's like one screen, the second feed, and then like a bunch of info under one of those feeds.
Yeah, I mean
That's so cool.
they're getting more like, I mean, obviously this has been around for cable TV, you know, for a while. You have picture in picture of different channels in this, but the fact that you have like this interactivity with it, where you can, you know, again, it's like having the internet that you can watch your scorecards and everything. That's what's the new stuff with the apps that's coming.
Yeah, they're just getting very creative and implementing a lot. I like that. I think it's
to me, it wasn't like something that hasn't been around already, but it's streamlined now.
Yeah,
it's smooth, especially with this new like the touchpad controller, which again wasn't as great for gaming, I think, because it's such a tiny pad. But for navigating, I think it's perfect.
Third party controllers will take care of that. I wanted the remote to be a remote primarily. If it does gaming, fine. I don't care if it does or doesn't. But third party controllers will take care of that. But I wanted a remote that excelled, and the touch, the tactile, was it the trackpad? Yeah. That was really nice. I liked how responsive it was, how you could go through a bunch of apps or just one app, or you could even stay on the same app and you could kind of see your motion on that one app.
That was very, to me, it was just like a...
It's very Apple. It's very
no,
Apple.
It's not. It
reminds
me of the GameCube. You know how when you're playing like Super Smash, you can hold the C button, move it around, you get the screen like doing this. For, like, no
I don't know. It just brings it to life. That's what I like about it. Like they pay attention to the details, and I like the whole interface. The interface was beautiful. It was pretty much the same interface we had before, but it was like light and bright, and the app icons looked nice and updated and fresh. So I like that too. The remote itself, the Siri features that were included with
my favorite one, I have to say, out of the Siri stuff was when you ask for a show. I thought that was one of the things I was worried about, that they were going to focus just on iTunes. Like when you do it, it's going to pull up all the stuff from iTunes, but it's like, oh, I don't want to watch anything from iTunes. I have Netflix, I have Hulu. And I'm hoping somehow some deal works between Apple and Amazon, and they can finally get friggin' Prime Video on there.
Isn't Netflix and Prime's content pretty much the same?
No, not totally. They have a lot of shows usually are one. They kind of switch off between the two because it's like they compete with each other. So if one buys one, their
it's exclusive.
Contract is like we don't want Netflix to have.
Okay. Yeah, no, but they did say they're gonna add more, and they have Netflix, Hulu, and iTunes for now, and Showtime.
And Showtime, yeah. But that's cool how when you search for something, it doesn't just give you the information for iTunes, which you would think something like that would happen. But it's like it lists where is it available, it's here, here, and here, and then I think you have the option to pick a default, because in the area that it says available and availability, but I think that it showed the icon was iTunes, so I'm assuming you can set a default for your selection.
Cool. Yeah. So it's a good update overall. Like if I had to say was it good or bad, I would say it was good. It was really good. And I'm looking forward to future updates. I'm looking forward to 4K video, even though it's not
going to come on this one.
Yeah, it's not. I'm looking forward to like eventually getting 4K video. But what else would I want? And
that's the only thing that also bummed me was the fact that there is no 4K.
Yeah, that really was the only thing missing, and I don't think it's a huge deal if they update it next year with 4K, and because there'll be more 4K content out by then.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're gonna start doing an update every year with this thing.
That's what I'm hoping for. That's where it seems like it'll be every other year, to be honest, but I'm hoping it'll be every year, at least once next year, just to get that 4K. I think that's pretty important.
But because I'm pretty sure 4K TVs are going to become pretty popular during this Black Friday. The price have dropped a lot, and I'm sure they're going to go even lower during Black Friday, so a lot more people are going to have access to it. And Netflix already has 4K streaming with certain devices, the PS4.
I feel like it's not even Apple that's holding 4K back. It's content creators. Like how many movies have come out in 4K? Like I don't even know of any yet. I'm sure there are a few, but it's just a few. They really need to make it the standard and create content, and then the hardware will support it. But
except then on the other side, they're thinking, oh, we're not going to support it until the hardware is there, because what's the point of us making it if no one's going to buy it? So yeah, it's going to be a double-edged
chicken egg. Yeah. Overall, I thought it was a really good upgrade, and the only thing missing is 4K. But I'm not really dying to watch the 4 movies that are out in 4K right now.
There's quite a few movies actually, but yeah.
But no, I thought it was great, and it has a lot of features. It had everything I wanted, except 4K. So to me, it was a winner.
Yeah, it's the same thing for me. Like, it was lacking in some things that I was hoping for, 4K being one of them. I was really hoping a lot of the home automation stuff would be there too. But yeah, I'm definitely still picking one up. I need another, set-top box, so I'll be getting one when it comes out.
Yeah, but it does have the HomeKit stuff.
I know it has it in there, but I mean, I have no idea what it's going to be doing. That's what I mean. Like, I was hoping to some news about it, you know?
Yeah.
So let's move on to one of the bigger announcements during the show, which was the iPad Pro. And both of us had been mentioning this for a while now, you know, like what we had assumed was coming with it, and a lot of it was actually correct. You know, it came with the 4 speakers. It didn't have the USB-C port that I thought was going to be coming, but it was actually that Smart Connect port that's for any kind of keyboard, or I'm assuming someone's going to make some other kind of option
devices,
for that. Yeah. So that is still remains to be seen what people are going to be doing with that connector, because it moves both power and data between it. But yeah, it was pretty cool. You know, we had the large screen, 12.9 inches. What was it? 2732 by 2048 resolution.
It was about a pound and a half, which was what the weight of the original iPad was. A lot of people, when they held it, they were like, it's surprisingly light.
Especially because of the size.
Yeah, you're looking at this huge thing, and it's like a pound and a half. But weight is a big deal to me. If I'm going to be holding this thing for a while, I don't want it to strain my wrist. So what else did it have? It came with a few accessories. Was it Magic Keyboard? Or just keyboard?
I think it was just called a smart keyboard.
So whatever. It came with a cover that also converted into a keyboard. Was it backlit?
It's not backlit. It's a cloth, like they said it was called smart cloth on it or something like that. But it didn't even look like it was cloth though. It looked too shiny to be cloth.
Yeah, I like that it's clicky though. It had that butterfly mechanism that the new MacBook Air, MacBook Retina has.
Yeah, but they called it a dome. Button this time. I don't know why. They called it butterfly during the event for the MacBook, but now they're calling it a dome.
But it makes sense. It kind of adds up now because the keys take up less space and they click much quicker, and it's for the thinness of the cover that they did that. Also for the MacBook, of course, but
obviously the Apple Pencil that also is the other thing that comes with it, which honestly, kind of a weird name.
I thought it was cool.
I don't know.
I know it was kind of like but it's Apple. They like being very like, hey, you know, like mission control, like random.
And I've noticed they've start calling it like the Apple TV was the Apple TV. Now it's just the symbol of the Apple TV. That's where they're moving everything to.
Yeah. But the pencil,
they're going away from the eyes.
The pencil had a male lightning connector at the end of it, and you take it off and it shows the connector, and you could plug it into your iPad Pro, and it charges in 15 seconds. You get 30 minutes of use of the pencil.
Yeah, that was actually some news that came out after the fact, after the show, but that's pretty impressive. It's pretty cool, you know, like let's say, you know, you just need to get your last bit of work done. You're like, oh crap, it died. I don't want to like sit there and wait for an hour. You can just quickly 15 seconds. I mean,
at first I thought like that's kind of awkward to have like this like pencil sticking out of your iPad Pro and like you just like.
I feel like you could easily break it. You know, like tap into something and have it snap off.
Yeah, but like now it makes sense though, because it's like, oh, I leave it in for 15 seconds, use it for another 30 minutes. You know, like that to me is like, okay, that's justifiable. But what interested me the most was that new input or the data and
the
power,
smart connector.
The smart connector. I think that's going to be big with third-party developers. I think that's going to make
Logitech already just right after the show announced their own keyboard.
Yeah, apparently Apple's been releasing details to certain manufacturers, but I think it's going to be big. Not just keyboards though. Like I wonder what else can be done.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just waiting to see what someone's going to come up with something, especially with a device that's as powerful as this is.
Yeah.
I mean that A9X chip that they had in it was
a beast.
It was really impressive for the amount of like. The graphics processing power that they were showing, like the jump ahead from the Apple Air 2?
Yeah,
iPad Air 2.
It's pretty much like a desktop. Like maybe not your like gaming desktop, but it's still pretty powerful, and it's gotten to a point where that post PC era it's like maturing now. A lot of what Steve Jobs and Tim Cook believe is that we had like desktop computers for years and years. And those are going to become like the trucks of society, where very few people have it, and it's a workhorse. It's like for people who really need to work hardcore. But now, like the iPads, like it does like 90% of what most people need. And I think the iPad Pro, it was mostly a consumption device up till now. Like, oh, I'll read my news, I'll watch my Netflix, and maybe
You
do
mean just the iPad?
Yeah.
You said iPad Pro.
Oh, the iPad. My bad. Yeah. But now it seems like you could create more and more with these iPads and actually, write an essay in it or make a movie.
Well, I mean, you could always do it, but yeah, that's what I was mostly saying was the fact that. Remember how I was saying, I would want something that I could replace my laptop with. Yeah. I have my desktop for my heavy duty editing and everything, but and definitely all this power means nothing without app support. And what is it? The fact that Adobe has so many things coming out on it, like all these new specific apps built for the iPad Pro, that makes it that functional.
That's the biggest thing. Is I don't think. Okay, people talk a lot about the OS not being good for productivity. I think if the right apps were developed and you had enough screen real estate, you could pull it off. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you want to go on your laptop quickly, like open 10 tabs, get everything done. But if the iPad Pro is done right with the multitasking, with the way bigger screen, I think we're gonna see.
My thing is the pencil and the tablet, if they are as accurate as like one of the higher end Wacom tablets. I mean, you're talking about. It's just a little more expensive, and you're getting all these other features. I would rather get the iPad Pro if it's just as accurate as like one of the digital Wacom tablets where you can draw.
I think it will be, and I think this iPad Pro isn't aimed at like your everyday user. I think for most people, an iPad Air or iPad Mini would be enough, especially the iPad Air. I think that's like a sweet spot. But the iPad Pro, for businesses, it's great, and for people like me and you, like prosumers who need who want to do a little bit more with their computer, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't view it like replacing more
powerful gaming computers or anything like that.
Yeah, but it's so powerful where it's like, wow, like you could actually do some work on this thing and get stuff done.
Yeah, the one thing that really impressed me was the fact that you can have 3 4K video files streaming at the same time, during your editing within Adobe. What is it? I think it was Premiere's. They have. I don't know if it was exactly Premiere, or if it's like a iPad Pro version of Premiere. Yeah. But that's intense. Like that would be difficult for my desktop to do right now. To be able to have a mobile chip that with 10-hour battery life that's able to do all this.
Yeah.
This would be really cool. Like I was saying to you earlier, we were talking was. This for like someone like a video maker, short film designer, like when you're out in the field, let's say you quickly shot something, you want to really edit something real quick and see if it looked nice. I mean, that's all you need. I mean, you don't need a heavier laptop. You have this little light 1.5 pound tablet that you can just quickly do everything on, and there you go.
I view this as like the jump from iPhones to tablets. Like everyone said, like, oh, what's the point of a tablet? It's just a bigger iPhone, and I thought like that's the point. Like it's a bigger iPhone. You could do so much more with that space, and time proved that true. Where with bigger space, you could just do so much more on a tablet that you wouldn't think of doing on your phone. And with the iPad Pro, I feel like the fact that they partnered with Adobe, Microsoft, and all these other big productivity companies, and the fact that they just blew up the screen, it's just amazing. And I thought it was a winner. I kept comparing it to the Surface in my mind. I didn't care so much about the audio system.
I thought it was cool. It was pretty. I mean, if it works as well as they said when you lift it up. Depending on the angle you're holding it, the speakers adjust to try to get you that.
It's just at the end of the day, I'm not much of a audiophile when it comes to tablets. I don't need really.
Well, that's the thing. I think they're trying to make it so it's not tablet audio that you're getting. The way that they had said you're getting kind of a deeper bass. The way that they had played it.
Let me rephrase. When I think of audio, I think of my TV audio. I want good audio coming out of my TV. I don't care what comes out of my phone or my. Well, let me rephrase that. I love the quality of audio on my iPhone, and I'm always for more quality. But as a big headlining feature, I mean, it's just whatever to me. It's as long as the audio quality.
I don't think it was a headlining feature, but I think it was a feature that was good to have added.
Yeah, and I'm not.
Especially considering they said it's 3 times louder than the
iPad Air. Yeah. And that's good. It's nice to have. I'm just worried that if they could have done something better with that space, I might have wanted them to do that. Maybe instead of having 4, have 2 speakers.
No, I'm pretty sure at that point, having the 12.9 inches of real estate underneath the thing, they had more than enough space to do whatever the hell they wanted in there. I mean, the one thing they could do is maybe like put a ginormous battery inside, but then it would just way too much.
Yeah. Yeah. So overall,
I mean, you saw the motherboard and everything of the MacBook when they took it apart. It's like this little tidbit, and the rest is just battery. You know, like there's nothing else in there. I mean, imagine how much they shoved into this thing.
Yeah. So I imagine this being bought out in the future by a lot of businesses, a lot of techies and geeks.
The medical field, that little example they showed us with from 3D for medical, what they were able to do on that thing, that was really impressive.
Was it like I don't know of any doctors who have the time to sit there and like for like 10 minutes to show them like.
I don't think this is for doctors, your regular like pediatrician or whatever who comes in. No, I think this is more like when you're in
hospital settings,
when you want to get surgery done, which is something more intensive, and you want to make the patient understand what's going on, or even just as a teaching tool. The fact that it was able to render all that in real time.
As a teaching tool, I think it's pretty awesome though, because I can imagine like pushing that to a display in a classroom, have an Apple TV set up in a classroom, projected or whatever, and it'll just be insane. Like just being able to, because a lot of teachers use that now. That's where the future of education is being able to have something very like slides and something you could quickly write on and annotate and show things so people understand. So while I see it like being used with patients and stuff, just in a general more wider application.
Well, I think just being able to annotate isn't that big a deal. I mean, that power that was on there that was showing just being able to actually real-time 3D cut out through the muscle exactly where you want, show this piece. And that was really big for me, like that you could show right there on a screen,
and that's what I mean, like when you have apps developed within certain industries to show one concept really well, like when the iPad, the first one came out, they had this a periodic table. All the elements were on it and all the details. I don't remember
the original.
Oh no, you don't remember? It was pretty cool, but I could see the iPad Pro being the definitive tool for teachers, where you could take attendance on it with one app and then move on to another app where you do your keynote, and now the keynotes have laser pointers and annotation markers, and on top of that you could switch to an app that explains a concept really well. So I see the iPad Pro booming there in hospitals, education, in certain businesses, depending on what the business is, like
design, art,
video. Oh yeah. So overall, do you want to give your?
Overall, I mean, if I had the money to spend, it would be something cool to have, like to be able to, especially with video editing and everything. I think it'd be really fun to have around as just a regular consumer device. I don't really see the merit for spending so much money on a tablet. Might as well just get a laptop. But on the prosumer level, to have something really quick in the professional world, I think it's worth it, especially for the price. I mean, if you look at people, comparing it to the Surface, with the Surface you're actually getting like a desktop. It pretty much handles full on apps and everything, because it literally is. Windows 10. It has the tablet version that you can do everything, but when you switch over to the main version, it's just a laptop in tablet form. It's literally, that is what it is. But those are still in like the $1,000 range if you want to get the higher end versions that have like the i7 processors and everything. So to me, for having it starting at like $800, it's competing well.
I thought it should have come in at $700.
That's what I had originally. Remember, I had actually, I don't know if any of you guys were reading the comments once before in one of the videos I had mentioned, I assumed it would start at $699, $200 above the thing, but it's actually...
Because I thought that would be a sweet spot. If you're iPad Air 2, but you have $500, but you want to go level up, $200 to go up to the next level.
It's not so bad, but $300, you're going beyond more than 50%,
Yeah, and the iPad Pro, but here's the thing, if it makes the product better and they're able to implement better features because of that price, then... to compensate for the costs and their profit margins, then fine, like whatever, do that. But what was when you upgrade the tiers from 800 to 900 and then it goes to like 1,000 something, there was something, there was something...
the last tier gets cellular connectivity.
Was that the only difference?
The only one. Yeah, well, no, there's,
storage,
but the last one is the only one that comes with having any kind of...
Okay, in that case, I don't care for that. The storage is the main thing. 32
gigs. That is the only thing that bothered me, the storage.
32 gigs starting?
Yeah, that is horrible. Especially when you have all these apps that you're showing, like with Adobe and everything. These apps are not small apps.
Yeah.
And using any of those apps to edit anything requires a lot of space. any of Apple's products was to have an external memory input, some kind of where you could a SIM card, memory card input for an SD card or something, this was the one that should have had it.
I don't want an external memory input, but I would
if
say
you want this to be a prosumer device where you would have
I hear you.
edit your videos, quickly pull off your videos and stuff, or images or anything, I think that
I get what you're saying. I think they're viewing iCloud, and I think that's part of the reason they dropped the prices on iCloud was because they don't want people to so much store everything on it, but if you do, it's a convenience, pay more. And I want them to stop being stingy with their storage. Like, why is it so difficult to include 32 on an iPad Pro? 32 should be what the iPhone starts with, you know? And we can't even get that, and on the iPad Pro we get 32 instead of 64.
iPad Pro should start at 64, gone up to 256 at least. I mean, this thing is supposed to be a prosumer device. Make it a prosumer device. You want it to kill a laptop, make it able to handle enough memory that, starting laptops of SD flash memory would be coming with.
Yeah, so overall my thoughts...
I gotta say, one thing I want to say, I have a feeling that's going to be one of the first things that happens with that smart connector. Some kind of external memory device. Someone's going to make something where it's a little sleeve or something that's just attached to the side. Guess what? You have extra memory. I can see that happening.
Probably. I mean, I can see a lot of things happening with it, especially since it does data. Overall, for me, I thought it was a pretty good device. I guess I'm kind of waiting to see what happens, but I do think the goal they set out to do, I think they accomplished. Only complaint was the storage, but no surprise there. But what I'm excited about most is seeing what developers do with it and how that extra screen real estate translates into new functionality or new uses for tablets that we haven't seen so far. So overall, it was a success for me.
Yeah, same for me. Like I said, I don't think it's for the regular consumer, unless you just have the money to blow. What are you going to use it for? But in terms of the professional, I think it's an awesome device. Yeah. It competes very well with the Surface Pro, if not better, for what you want to do, especially with the pencil, being able to use it as in terms of editing photos, drawings and everything. I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
So last but not least, the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus. And I think we both can agree that we think it's probably the biggest S update that has ever occurred.
Yes, easily.
Yeah. I mean, everything that came with it, the 7000 series aluminum, the 12 megapixel camera in the back, the 5 megapixel camera in the front.
Yeah, I said that it's basically, it looks the same, but everything about it is new.
Yeah.
Everything. The material it's made of, the oh my gosh, the features,
the sensors, the cameras, the panel.
Yeah, so let's start off with the cameras. So it went up from 8 megapixels to 12 megapixels for the rear-facing camera.
Or eyesight camera.
Yeah, and I love the fact that Apple never went on the megapixel, what's it called?
Race.
Yeah, they just don't add it just for the sake of it because it degrades quality. And I like how they showed that they actually went out of their way to make sure the increase in megapixel
wasn't losing your quality.
Yes, and
they said they had some sort of deep trench tech that didn't allow blur any bleed from the light, so you wouldn't get any chromatic aberration in your photos.
A lot of imagey stuff, but
that I pay attention to.
Yeah, and I love. But the point is, you're gonna get much higher quality photos. And they showed a few off in the video if you haven't seen it, and it was pretty nice. I'm sure the lighting was absolutely
obviously the one thing I have to mention that. All of that was taken outdoors in very bright lights.
Yeah.
So I will hold off on expecting that until I see, in real life, on hand pictures taken with indoors in darker light settings.
Yeah, and
because it might work amazingly well in bright lights, but the reason I had stuck with HTC when they came out with their megapixel camera, even though it's 4 megapixels, it had ultra pixel camera. It took beautiful pictures in the dark. It needed no flash. So yeah. I will hold up to see how it handles.
Apple's been pretty good about maintaining that. They have a whole ad campaign and just showing how beautiful the images are from an iPhone. So I
agree with that. I just want to see what its low light capability.
I can't wait to see it too, actually in hand. But the front-facing camera got a few upgrades as well. So now you could do more selfie type stuff. The main thing for me wasn't that it went from a 1.2 megapixel to a 5 megapixel. but the fact that they made the whole screen a flash.
Yeah.
Now at first I thought like, okay, that's not really a flash because all it is turning on your display on. I could just press my home button and I get that.
Yeah.
But
The
no.
fact that it goes 3 times brighter than the display actually goes. It's like a specific, for a split second, it gives out an extreme amount of light, and it does True Tone. So it checks the ambient light and flashes the correct type of light to give you natural looking skin color.
Yeah, and that to me was impressive. I was not expecting that. I am not a fan of using the front-facing camera when I'm taking a picture with a group of people. I always use the back one, but I might start using the front one given that it's been such a big bump and they've improved it.
I'm just hoping with the increase of the megapixels, especially on the front, because it's over 3 times the size of pixel size. This one I could see taking a kind of a hit in low light situations compared to what it was before. Unless what they were using before was already, I haven't used a lot of iPhones front facing, taking selfies or anything. So I don't know what the quality in low light is now. Is it any good?
I don't know either. I imagine it's a bit grainy in my experience, but
I haven't tried it. But still, that it's a pretty big jump, so you can get some really nice quality photos with that.
Yeah, and I can't wait till they do more in the future with this. But that in and of itself was a really good upgrade. What else was new? The 7000 series aluminum, which was awesome. That's one of the things I really wanted. I'm not a friend of bend-gate. I'm not afraid of bend-gate.
Yeah, I never had an issue with that, and I'm an iPhone user. I mean, an Android user, so I would obviously jump on that if I wanted to make fun of it. But to me, it's like that was only the retarded people. Why would you? Purposely bend it or sit on your phone.
Just the screen I'd be worried about. Forget the phone bending. But like I just like the fact that if my phone drops, the dent, the likelihood of a dent is less, or it'll be a less severe dent. That's what I like about 7000 series aluminum.
No, I just like the fact that they took it, on note that hey, this problem does exist. Let's do it better. And plus, on the other side, I don't know if a lot of people notice this. Even though the case is bigger, thicker, it actually weighs less than the original case. So
the phone overall is heavier though.
Yes, but I'm talking about the back casing. 7000 series aluminum being stronger, it's also lighter than regular aluminum.
And so that's the benefit. It's a no-brainer. It's a benefit in every way for them to switch over to that. The processing, huge jump.
Was it 70% faster tasks, CPU tasks, 90% faster GPU tasks? If real life testing, real world testing is actually those numbers and it's not just like, computed numbers, that would be a really impressive jump.
Apple's usually good about giving you realistic numbers though. That's what I respect about them. And the fact that if they made this jump, I would expect the battery to take a hit because it's such a big jump. But the fact that they almost got it like double the graphics and at the same time it's still the same amount of battery, that to me says that they made the energy efficiency out of this world for this device.
They did say, what was it? I can't remember. Was it just the iPad Pro or the iPhones as well where they had variable screen refreshes?
I think it was the iPad Pro.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know if the iPhone 6s may have gotten it and they may have not mentioned it, but I remember the iPad Pro did get that.
Yeah, okay. The other thing that I think we forgot to mention with the iPad Pro 2 is I don't know if it comes with 3D Touch. I can't remember them mentioning 3D Touch on the iPad Pro. They definitely did on the iPhone 6s. I don't know if you're getting that 3D Touch effect with just the pen on the Pro.
I don't think it came to the iPad Pro, but we'll see.
Yeah, the one thing I gotta say too, I think it is getting the 6s is getting the 1715 or 1750 mAh battery, the smaller battery, mostly because I just realized when they announced it, it's not just that the screen is taking up space, but they also added that taptic engine inside for the haptic feedback for when you're doing 3D touch. So that's also taking up a good chunk of space. It's a little cubic, long cylinder type deal that fits in there. So I think that took up some of that battery space.
Speaking of 3D touch, that is the most amazing feature for me for the 6S. Only because at first I thought it was gimmicky. Like before they announced it, I thought like 3D touch really like it just seems kind of. And where do you 3D touch? You don't know where to do it. Like you just do it and you find out, oh, this works here, it doesn't work. But the way they did it, man, it showed like there was like an accelerator in a phone, and it takes 10 spins to go to full speed. But for 3D touch, they made it so that in one.
That's the taptic engine that they were talking about.
Yeah, and that to me was pretty cool.
I'm just hoping that the Taptic engine feels exactly like the MacBook's touchpad. When you click, it actually feels like it's an actual click.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's gonna be. Sorry, let me just yeah, let me just say this because when I saw the way it was implemented, and I don't think it's as slow as it seemed in the videos because they pushed it, held it, and then pushed it even deeper. I think you go way quicker and do what you need to do.
Oh, obviously, that was okay. If you remember the original iPhone commercials, they weren't showing off the features more so than teaching you how to use them. And I think that's what they're doing again because obviously no one's gonna know how to use this feature unless they're taught it. So they had to spend a good deal of time saying over and over. So you hold it and you do this and it does this, and then you press a little further and it does this. So obviously it was supposed to be like you're getting taught how to use this feature.
And three things that blew my mind. One was when you tap any app, if the developer developed for it, it pops out a menu of shortcuts. That to me, awesome already. I don't need to open the app and go to that place. I could just press the app, quickly swipe up and let go on the thing I want to do. 1, 2, the peek and pop thing, instead of like, let's say I get a website or an address or whatever, I want to take a look at the website or email, I just press it a little bit to view it and then let go. I get out of it. You know, I like that. And
I gotta mention one thing though, and there's a lot of people out there saying like a lot of these features Apple adds, it's like taken from other companies that have already done it, which is true. But like I said, to me, it's
truth. Yeah.
It is true. Okay, if you take Samsung's little, I forget what it was called when you would for their Galaxy devices, where you're not touching the screen but you're hovering your finger over it, and it does pretty much the same features where it comes up, it peaks, and it gives you little things before you actually tap it. It's kind of like that, but they've kind of integrated it more and made it smoother, so it just kind of works.
They do it right. They always do it right. So. Yeah, like
I mean, sure, they are capitalizing on other people's ideas, maybe, but at the same time, they're adding to it. They're not just straight up copying it. Yes, and I can see things like, okay, they added live photos. HTC did that back in 2013. Nokia did that as well, like a year ago. They just implemented it better. You know, they made it so instead of you having to select the feature or whatever, it's always on when you're taking regular photos. So, you know, they're taking these ideas, but they're making them in a way where it just kind of fits in better with the OS. It works better. It's less of a hassle. And because so many people have this phone, it's going to become a norm with them. Like, the Zoe thing on my phone never took off because I can't share it with anyone. I can only watch it myself or anyone else who had the HTC One. But then with the iPhone, you have like at least like every other person that you know is gonna have an iPhone. You can share this.
It's like when you sell something in Starbucks, because there are so many Starbuckses. It's inevitably
it's an instantaneous bestseller. You know, it's like
but going back to what I was saying, the first thing was the fact that you could push on apps. The second was you could push on emails and links and peek. And if you push even deeper, it pops. I think there was something where if you peek and then you get these options on the top or bottom where you could do a few things. That was cool.
I think it depends on the app. The app has to be coded to have these features,
obviously, that's given. And then there was another one where you could, there were a bunch of other things, but one where you push down on your keyboard and it turns into a trackpad, and then you can quickly select text or move your cursor around, kind of like you have a mouse. But the fact that it has tactile feedback and it is the new way to navigate through the phone via shortcuts, that to me is very impressive, and I really look forward to that feature.
Yeah, I mean, again, I have to play with it to see what it's going to be like. You were actually mentioning before, it's like you're kind of curious as how you're going to be able to toggle and move around icons now, or your apps now on the screen with, you know, since Force Touch, when you hold it, it comes up with the menu.
Yeah, I imagine it's a light press but a long press. It's the same as before, but...
Yeah, we'll see how that works. I mean, let me just get into my little rant now about... And obviously you have this issue too, but to me it's a really big issue. The 16 gigabytes starting memory storage. Think of this for a second. Each photo is now 50% larger, 12 megapixels. Any selfie you take, which people go nuts with their selfies, is almost 4 times larger in size, each photo. You also have these live photos, which double that already 50% increase in size of the photo. You have 4K video that is 4 times the size of 1080p video, which would be, so each minute of video is going to take up 4 times the space of each minute of video before. All of this, so I would assume you would at least have to have at least double the starting space. I mean, the most space that you take up on your phone, it's like music and photos on majority of people.
Either Apple's thinking this is for like companies who need to buy a bunch of phones and they don't need much space on it because they're not going to use it for personal use. At this point, that's the only excuse I can see. Like the only excuse. But yeah, like I agree with you. I think 32 should be standard. Should have been standard. It definitely should be now with all the increase in camera quality and recording. But what can you say? I mean, it is what it is. Basically, to me, iPhones are now $100 more expensive. Like that's what it comes down to. Like entry level is $100 more expensive. So yeah.
But I don't know. It boggles my mind and it's so annoying for paying $100 for 32 gigs.
Yeah. Yeah. But
especially today, where
not 32. You're paying $100 extra to go from 16 to 64.
Oh yeah. It's but still, in a day where you can buy a 200 gigabyte micro SD card for like $100.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I get the frustration there. I'm the fanboy, but I could see that Apple's kind of, again, the only way I could see it is this is for enterprise. This is for people who, it's a work phone. They need to buy hundreds of them. They need it cheap. They don't care about the storage.
But it's not for enterprise. It's for your everyone. I mean,
no. That's what I mean, though. That is enterprise, and the rest, like 64 and up, that's for everyone else. Like that's the way I look at it now. It's the only way I can make sense of it at this point, or justify it, or for like people who don't really use smartphones, but they just got one, like older people. It's like that's the only like logic.
Older people, I feel like, would be snapping shots all the time. Like,
camera.
Oh, look, I can take pictures of my food like everyone else. Oh, there's my grandson or my grandkids. You take 1,000 pictures of them. Like that's what my aunts do. Anytime they come around, all you see is like tick 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 tick. They're just taking pictures the whole time.
It's the enterprise phone. It's the 8 gigabyte phone of today. Which sucks. It's like, do you think the entry level iPhone would be at least decent? But whatever. I mean,
those are I have 2 things that stops me from picking up the 6S. One, I find this design horrid.
Yeah, the back.
I hate how this version of the iPhones look like, and the starting memory specs. Those are like the 2 biggest downfalls. Like I'm actually tempted to pick one up, a 6S, and try it out. But those are the only 2 things that I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait for the 7. Mostly the look, just because if I'm gonna be carrying this around the whole time with me, I kind of want something that looks nice.
The storage size, I don't think it's gonna go away with the 7. If it does go away, it'll go away with the 7.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gonna go up on the 7. I mean, there's just no excuse. Especially if they take into account that new lens company they picked up that's supposed to increase the quality of photos, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna have high speed 4K by then.
Yeah.
There's no way that 16.
Pretty much the only sticking point for us. Well, I agree with you on the design too. This is ugly, but I kind of just got used to it. It wasn't like iPhone 4.
It's grown on me too over the year, but at the same time, I really like how the 4s and 5s look. Like I was really a big fan of the design on those phones.
Yeah. I just wanted this antenna thing separator to get fixed. That's the only thing. Like,
and I hope they stop trying to thin out the phone and actually recess that camera back in.
They will.
That was my most hated thing about Android phones for the longest time. And now Apple did it.
Yeah, no, I think that's gonna get fixed with the 7. But yeah, overall, that's pretty much our complaints. It's just that antenna, which was already with the 6, so I can't really say it's the 6S.
That's not a thing for me. But everything else, like on the new 6S, is put the phone down. Everything else on the 6S is tempting me to pick one up. Besides those 2 limiting factors.
Yeah, the 7's gonna be amazing because usually when I buy, I always skip a year, and it's a huge upgrade when you get all the S upgrades plus the new iPhone upgrades. And this time the 6S in and of itself seems like a huge upgrade. Yeah. So next year, how much bigger?
It has to be okay. Since the 3G, iPhone 3G, was it 3GS?
Yeah, 3G and 3GS.
Yeah. I think since the 3GS, it's like the first update that's actually worthy of picking up.
Oh yeah, the 4? You mean from 3GS to 4?
No, from 3G to 3GS.
I thought it was 3GS to 4. That was a big deal for me. 'Cause 3GS.
Oh no, obviously that was a huge deal. But I mean, as an S update.
Yeah.
I think since that time, this is the first time that it's ever been like, wow, you really need to pick this up. Yeah, I mean, the 4S was pretty cool with Siri, but Siri was pretty, like we said, it was like a gimmick at the time, so totally not worth it. But this is the, to me, it's the first S update that I could say, oh, if someone goes like, oh, I want to sell my 6 or give my 6 to pick up a 6S, that I can say, yeah, that'd be worth it.
Yeah, me too. I'd agree with that. Like, here's the thing with the main features of the 4S. The main feature was, yeah, it had more speed, it always does. But the main feature was Siri, and then on the 5S it was Touch ID. Both those features, when they came out, they were very limited until later on. I thought now they're both amazing. Like I saw the potential in both, and I knew they were gonna be big. But when they first came out, you had to wait a while. You knew you had to wait a while.
You already had to wait by the time the 6 came out.
Yeah, but with the 6S, like the whole Force Touch thing, that's like out the door, ready to go. Yeah, developers need to implement it, but it's so exciting to me to start with a new input mechanism. The 7000 series aluminum, just everything, the twice as fast Wi-Fi and LTE, just all the things coming together, like it's such a huge upgrade. So yeah, I agree with you. If people upgraded from the 6 to the 6S, I'd say like, hey, that's pretty good.
That's a good decision to make. Yeah.
I'm tempted to. I've never bought an S upgrade, but I'm tempted to at this point.
Yeah, like I said, one of the bigger things. I'm very big on photo and everything. I really want to test out this new camera. Like I want to see how it works out. Yes, obviously everyone says what is it? Androids have higher resolution cameras. The LG G4 and the Galaxy S6. Those both have really amazing cameras, but I just want to see how this one's going to play into it. I feel like it's going to stand up to them pretty well, if not surpass them. Yeah,
and the fact that they bought this new lens technology company too, and in a year it's going to be implemented.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Lens X.
Yeah, Lens X.
You guys remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, basically, it's going to give you DSLR quality photos, and that to me, wow, like. iPhone the 7 is amazing.
Honestly, they say that, but until I see it, I'm just expecting a jump in quality, but I'm still not expecting it to be as good as like my T3i up there.
Yeah, well, I imagine it'll be a low-end DSLR quality. Like I don't think it'll be like your mid to top of the line DSLR, but compared to like camera phone photos to this DSLR entry level, I don't know. Apple just did amazing with the 6S. It clearly stole the show for us, right? Okay, I'm tempted to buy it, and you have to strap me to my chair and make sure I don't.
No, I don't think I need to, because you already have enough worry about. Oh no, I can't afford it.
Yes, but yeah, overall big time winner. Obviously, all of them were winners, but none of them blew me out of the water like the iPhone did. Which was kind of a surprise to me. I thought the Apple TV or iPad Pro would do that, but
the iPad Pro was pretty big for me still. But like I said, it was more of a prosumer device. It wasn't something for the consumer. As a consumer device, the iPhone, the 6S was really on it.
Yeah. And that about sums it up for us today, Pupsters. Sorry about this video being incredibly long.
It's going to take forever to render.
Yeah. But there was a lot to talk about, and we love tech, and we hope you enjoyed it and hearing our thoughts about it. Question of the day for you guys: what was your favorite product announcement, and what was your favorite feature announced in the Hey Siri event?
And as always, please help support the channel by subscribing if you want to catch more, like the video if you liked it, and of course, we'll see you again next time.
Take care, guys.
And stay classy.